We begin with a former under-21 world champion playing today in his first ever ranking event semi-final. Fantastic Fan Zhengyi! A former champion of the world, the Pocket Dynamo, Graham Dawes.
Thank you. The first frame. Graham Dawes to break.
He really does. That's his real strength. The rest of his game is still work in progress, but his potting and scoring is improving all the time. But he's up against a real canny type here in Graham Dawes, who knows the game inside out. It's a little bit odd that he's ranked 47 in the world. He thought that his results would have been a little bit better than that. Clearly not the case. But there's a good safety shot from Fan, though. I mean, he's, like I say, his game is developing at a rate of knots.
Dodd, of course, much the more experienced of the big occasion. This is his 21st ranking semi-final appearance. If you've not had sound at the start of our coverage of this first semi-final, hang on. Wow, that was close to what would have been a very unlucky in-off. Graham Dawes, former world champion, of course, up against 21-year-old Chinese Fan Zhengyi, who's had a fantastic tournament already, appearing in his first ranking semi-final. Graham Dawes is 21st for the right to play the Ronnie O'Sullivan or Liang Wenbo, who do battle this evening from 7 o'clock. First to 6 frames now to go through, the usual interval after 4. And what an occasion for that young man, who of course made the last 8 of the German Masters this season, and is now making headlines again here at the Marshall Arena. That terrific win over Kyron Wilson when he nearly made the 147. coming from 3 down to beat Yan Bingtao subsequently, and then that tight victory over Dave Gilbert after he'd led 4-0. Just their second meeting, Dot having won back in 2019, but clearly Fan is a different proposition now than he was then, Neil.
This is the point, isn't it? He's improving it at a rate of knots. He's still a very young player. He's, you know, he's very left-eyed. Look at the way he cues across there. So that is what he's been doing in these cups. His long game is quite sensational. As I said earlier, the Gilbert match, some of the balls he was knocking in. However, he's been a bit unlucky, actually. This is beautiful cueing. He's finished in the one place, but I'm not even sure he can pop the yellow. He's so close to it. So he's a bit unlucky to finish there. That was a great red. Obviously, he did go for the pot.
Yeah, not much of a season for Dot before he arrived here at the Marshall Arena, but he's found some of his old form. Came through qualifying at the expense of Scott Donaldson and then beat Mark Davis by the odd frame. Zhou Yulong likewise. Jordan Brown 5-2, and then another final frame decider yesterday against Ryan Day. That was a very edgy, quite scrappy match. Both players had bags of chances, missed a few, but eventually Dot came through with a high break of 49.
Well, the brown was always in play on the shot, as we saw there. The fact that he just grazed it.
Fan came into this tournament ranked at 80 and obviously in need of ranking points with his tour spot in mind, but with this run here to the semi-finals guaranteed 17,500 points. So he's provisionally in the end of season rankings up to 66. If he wins today, he'll be propelled up to the low 50s, so it's been a very productive week for him.
It has, but the other thing about that is that he is number 2 on the 1 year list, isn't he, for players who don't get into the 64 as of right on the 2 year list. There are 4 places up for grabs on the 1 year list, and he is sitting pretty. I think that'll be quite the likelihood is he would get in on that. I know one thing, the tour needs players like him. The way he's been this week, he's been terrific.
Well, it's great to see this young Chinese talent really beginning to blossom, isn't it? We saw Pang Junzhu so impressive in defeating Neil Robertson.
Grand up full.
We know what Zhao Jintong has achieved this season with his triumph at both the UK Championship and the German Masters. And now Fan beginning to emerge as a serious threat to the established order as well. So exciting times in the game.
Well, what's happened, Philip, I think, is that it's all very well to say that Ding Junhui has been the flag bearer. Well, he has. Just watch this shot from Graham, because he can just get through to pot the red. But I think in some ways it's more what's happened since, with Bingtao starting to win Masters champion, Zhao Jintong UK champion. I think that is the thing now that's pushing the youngsters on. They can relate to those guys more so than Ding, perhaps, in his 30s.
Yeah, that's true. It almost feels as though Yan is a veteran now, even though he's still in his early 20s. Former Masters champion, but he too has obviously inspired players like Fan. So Dot just sees that pink elude.
Yes, it was just a little bit too pacey to drop. Maybe slower, that would have got in, but trying to hold for a red. He pots a lot of these, but again, this is a difficult shot. But extraordinary cueing, as I say, under his left eye. Really, I say it again. Right now, he is potting some mid to long range balls, real straight ones, good cueing shots. I think as well as anybody. He clearly doesn't do all the other things as well as the leading players yet, but his potting is quite something, and was yesterday against Gilbert.
He said after that match with Gilbert that in the first 4 frames, of course, all of which he won, he was not thinking about winning the match. He was just enjoying playing, and then he started to think about the prospect of winning after the interval, and of course things got a bit hairy for him thereafter. But the way in which he managed to clinch the match in the end, with Gilbert coming back strongly, was impressive. Could easily have panicked and seen that match slip away from him, but he came through.
What a beautiful shot that was. Beautiful shot to just nudge the top red.
40.
And there's nothing more exciting than seeing a young player emerge in the game. It's been happening years, of course, with O'Sullivan and Trump, and so many players who just everything comes together. And right now, this is what we're seeing with Fan. He's already achieved a lot this week. Can he take it any further? Very compact cue action, very straight cue action, and a brilliant eye.
Of course, initially he had an aversion to making centuries, didn't he? He was sort of superstitious about it, and as a result didn't make any, but he's made 8 this season. 1-3-4 at the German Masters is best.
He's not got an aversion to it anymore, was he? He made a 147 the other day. Extraordinary. Awkward cueing here, mind. This is not an easy shot to run the cue ball through onto his next colour, the black.
31.
Yeah. Well, he's got the pink as backup. He would have tried to be on the black there. There's one that's gone astray. It was just a cutback.
37.
So he's playing into an open pocket. He hardly ever misses one. But the other thing to say, of course, about today is the cloth's been recovered overnight, so the table is going to be more responsive, a little quicker, perhaps. We've seen conditions have been good all week, but they're going to be even better today. The cloth's been done again.
Yeah, that was a good shot of the rest from Graham Dott, so plenty of points to play with as he looks to get back into this opening frame. He says he's been playing extremely well in practice, and when he said that, he added that he was mindful that he didn't really want to talk about his practice form, because of course there's a world of difference between playing well without the pressure on and producing it on the match table. But he has been doing that this week. but the black just a little too high to drop.
Never in, was it? We know they're playing reasonably generously these pockets this week. That was never going to go in. Yeah, I mean the practice. You know, certain players would always play well in practice. I guess it's more significant for other players, like maybe Dotty in this case. It's a difficult shot this to start with. Oh, in it goes. Well, he needs to get this frame won because he's played a lot of good shots to get himself to this position. Now he really needs to get a frame on the board early and get his afternoon started here. It's not an easy shot to get onto a red from here. But that looks to be absolutely A1. It's well played. There's a lot of good shots, doesn't he? That was better than may have first appeared.
No.
I don't know if he can play this, but he might just screw this in onto the pink to gain position on the next red. Use the pink as a stopper. Well, he didn't need to, but either way, it's a very well-controlled shot. This is good. So 49 the lead. The red colour red, and he's got off to a good start.
70.
Wow.
Wow.
All of a sudden, the frame is still alive, just.
Yeah, that was potentially significant miss. I don't think it was pressure, maybe just took his eye off the potting angle, but had the frame at his mercy there.
Yes, he's 50 in front with 51 left, so 3 blacks is the problem for Dotty, because I'm not sure the black will go past the brown, so it's not actually potable now with the red that's in open play. So how on earth can you clear up when the balls aren't there? There's an argument that if he can't pot the black, because he can play the pink, but he might even refuse the pot here. So, deciding that he can only tie the frame by playing the pink. That's his decision. But there's no room for any lower value colours now. Swimming against the tide a little bit here, isn't he, with what he's doing, unless the black will pot anywhere. Try to nudge the black into play. Now, does it go? The black might just creep past the brown ball into half a pocket, but he may as well play it. This must be very tight, or else he'd have played on it previously. There you see. I reckon that will go, but he's got to hit it well. Half a pocket.
Yeah, didn't get close to it. He caught quite a bit of the brown, so the missed black just now from Fan, not expensive, it would seem. He's tried to make sure of the first frame, which he's dominated. As Neil mentioned, he's played some great balls.
One.
And he can forget about that black now, it's irrelevant. Former under 21 world champion back in 2017. He won't be at the Welsh Open in Newport next week, but he has qualified for the Turkish Masters that follow straight afterwards.
Well, whatever happens to him this week, whether he goes on to reach the final or wins the title, or gets beaten this afternoon. Probably a week off won't do him any harm to prepare for the event in Turkey, because they're coming thick and fast, these tournaments now. Can you spread yourself too thinly when you're playing these matches in these tournaments? He's doing well here, doing everything to secure his tour card this week.
16.
He looks very confident around the table. He's got a real purposeful air about the way he goes about his business. Graham Dott had that opportunity to get back into the frame, but mops up the colours to emphatically win this opening frame here in our first semi-final. He leads Graham Dott.
Frame 2. Fan Jingyi to break.
So Fan monopolising the table in the opening frame. Did miss a black, which might have been expensive, but Graham Dott had little room to manoeuvre, and his attempted counter-attack didn't amount to much. So Fan with frame 1 on the board. He needs 6 to go through to his first ranking final. Graham Dott is aiming for his 11th final appearance. Just the one other ranking title to go with his memorable 2006 World Championship. Remember Jamie Cope, what a talent he was. Sad to see him fall off the tour. Terrific player. Dott got the better of him in the China Open 2007 in Beijing. His only other ranking success, but what a player he's been down the years. So tenacious, always very watchable, I think, because he's an aggressive player. Not the heaviest scorer in the game, but terrific competitor.
What a strange shot that was. What did he play? What did he play? I'm not entirely sure he went for the pop there. But if he didn't, what else could he have been trying? Unless he tried to screw the red down the table and play into the bunch, but that would have been a rather bizarre shot choice. It's quite unusual when you see a leading player, and Graham Dott as a world champion is certainly one of those. The player shot, you literally can't quite work out what shot was intended. But what he has done is he left Fan in again, and that's the last thing he wanted to do after frame 1.
6. Seven. $14. $50.
So now the task of getting the bunch
20.
open is looming. Look at the bottom of that. It could be that that bottom red actually pots. And if so, he may play on it as opposed to open the bunch. Yeah, that'll go. It's a clear path through. And in playing it the way he has, he'd probably be moving reds off the red here by potting it and
30.
gliding into the bunch in some way, either screwing off them or running through. The first of those, I think.
31.
Yeah, that's really nicely played. Very good.
Practices in the Victoria Academy in Sheffield with the likes of Zhao Jintong and Yan Bingtao.
30.
No doubt helped him to develop his game. Now we're seeing the results of that.
$37.
Well, I mean, obviously, you're not going to always pot them, but anything straight, and that was not a difficult shot, I accept. I don't think he's going to miss anything straight. He just looks like that's his thing, where he can just line them up. See ball, pot ball. The other shots are a little bit more craft, which he's still going to learn. But, you know, he's playing nice shots. Even that was well played.
40. 45.
That's also well played, and very deftly. I mean, it was one of those, you go into them with pace, the cue ball ends up sliding off the bunch onto a cushion. As Philip pointed out, they have played 2019, but it's a different ball game playing him now. It's a different ball game playing him to last season. I was looking through his results now. I wouldn't even call them average. He was hardly winning a match. And he was getting beaten heavily by some good players and some players that are not at the top of the ranking list. But the improvement has come in the last
56.
matter of weeks, I think, since the German Masters, where he played well. Things are all coming together.
Not dissimilar with Zhao Jintong, really, who certainly wasn't pulling up trees prior to the UK Championship. And since then has taken his game to an entirely different level. Nothing like winning to improve that self-confidence, the belief that you belong at the top of the game. You can compete with the best and beat the best. All of this the result of that curious shot from Graham Dott, which, whatever he was trying to achieve, he failed by a margin. It looks like it's going to cost him the second frame. What a start from Fan Zhengyi.
He's going to go down the other end of the table, but this goes in, it's enough. I don't think Graham Dott will be surprised. I don't think he expected the repeat of the opponent
70
that he met in 2019 when he beat him 6-2. I think he's probably been aware of the improvement, but he may not have seen him this week that much,
71.
given that he's been playing himself. But he's got a good view of him now.
Yeah, he actually said ahead of this match, he could blow me away or he could crumble, and obviously I'm hoping for the latter, but right now it's more like the former.
76.
Certainly doesn't seem to be in any way phased by the magnitude of the occasion. Semi-final, chance to play in the final for the title. Looks very relaxed out there. I guess everything is a bonus now for the rest of the week for Fan. As you say, he's pretty much secured his tour place on the 1-year list, never mind the 2-year list.
Beautiful little shot there, wasn't it? The cannon was played to perfection. The frame is won, but
85.
He's got a nice tempo. You know, he's not slow by any means. You know, he's quicker than most, but he never doesn't rush into any shots. He gives it his full attention.
Yeah, he's operating
90.
at 23 seconds a shot for the season. Compare that with Graham Dott, who's at 20.8 seconds.
91.
But it's been Fan Zhengyi who's doing all the potting so far.
This has been a sublime break. I tell you, it's been superb. Some cannons,
98.
some real craft in here. Stuff that, you know,
99.
not necessarily associated with him. Fabulous break, this. Came about, but he's got it out of his system, and he's played a beautiful break.
106.
The curse well and truly broken. His third century of the week.
I'd say the curse is
109.
probably on the person you made the century against more so than you, because you definitely lost the frame. And this is really nice, very nice play. This.
Yeah, this has been top class, hasn't it? Really good.
130.
Played at a terrific tempo. And Graham Dott has problems. Now then.
180.
118.
Yeah, he can't beat his highest break. He did make a 134 in the German Masters, didn't he?
124.
I doubt it was a better break than this, though. It's been fabulous.
Just some of the touch that he's shown, the cannons.
131 in the frame. Fan Zhengyi.
Start this here. Graham Dott's got problems already. He knows how well his opponent's playing. He knows he's not being fazed by the big occasion as he doubles his lead. Fan leading 2-0.
Thank you, frame 3. Graham Dott to break.
So after that magnificent total clearance of 131 from Fan Zhengyi, Graham Dott needs a response here. He's not got going at all as yet. Made an error at the start of that frame, proved to be his only shot. As he sat out that magnificent break, it wasn't just the fact that it was a century, it was the way he compiled it that was so eye-catching from Fan. He's playing with a lot of confidence, no wonder, given he's already taken out the likes of Kyron Wilson, Yan Bingtao and Dave Gilbert to get here. Ranking event winners, all of them of course. And he's got designs to go further by the looks of it. First to 6, remember, to go through. One of those players who's very left eye dominant in his cue action. That one just eludes him.
Well, he's almost over further than the line of the left eye, isn't he? I was watching him there, and he's absolutely left eye dominant. You're quite right, but it's almost that the cue comes almost under his ear a little bit.
Well, one thing Dott will not be doing is panicking. He's been there, done it, and worn the t-shirt many times. He knows how talented his opponent is, and he's had that confirmed in the first couple of frames. But here's a chance to get his arm going. And immediately showing his frustration at the outcome there.
6.
He is unlucky because he did hit the pink pretty well, smack on the nose, but no positional joy to go with it.
Yes, he might have been taken aback a little bit by what he's up against here. He's seen it all, Graham Dott. Don't worry. If he can ease his way into this match, then he may well still do that. First to 6 is a long way off yet, but his opponent has started so well, it's put him on the back foot a little bit.
Graham Dott 6.
You don't want to leave him these. You do not want to leave him shots like this, as difficult as this is. I know he rolled that last one that didn't go in. If he punches this, there's a chance he'll get it.
One.
Meet and drink there. Nicely done. Not necessarily on the colour. So this is going to be a difficult shot to keep the break going with the rest.
Three. Four. Nine. Ten. Seventy.
Well, this is turning into a bit of a podding exhibition.
Very clean, isn't it? His cue action is sort of short and, well, you know, it's not an extravagant backswing. He sort of brings it back and just punches through. It's economical, I'd say, way to describe it, and his timing is good. But he has finished short this time, but you're absolutely right. He could have barely have started this match better. A good shot to get on the red, not tried, but this will test his mid-range stuff again. The kind of shots he's been knocking in for fun.
23.
Just straight. He wants to put them straight because he believes in his own cue action. Well, he's just never going to miss one of those, is he? I don't think. I really don't think he is. And the camera foreshortened the distance away he was. It was mid-range, dead straight. Never even threatened to hit a cushion. Sensational shot. Coming around the angles.
29.
Played it with the left hand running side. I mean, you couldn't play it any better, whoever you are. I guess the other thing about him is we see not the best little nudge on the blue. Maybe the pressure's off him if he feels that he's on the tour next year. Maybe, you know, one defeat has brought another one, and you've got a 2-year card, and you know that you might go to Q school. I don't think that's going to happen. So maybe he feels a lot of weight off his shoulders as a player. He's missed that one. One of the few errors he made. It just wasn't his sort of shot, I think, that. So, a rare blemish.
But try as he might, Doc Can't get anything going as yet. Largely frozen out to this point. Was a bit unlucky when he was playing into the pack at the start of this frame. Didn't land on anything, but just can't get a grip at the moment of proceedings out there.
I think one thing with Graham, he'll know full well that, you know, if mistakes are made, he's got to immediately seize upon those, and he couldn't do it there. Of course, his win against Karen Wilson was where it all really started from this week, wasn't it? Terrific performance, almost a 147 break. But, you know, a win against a real top player, they've given him, I think, a boost.
He's won in different ways, hasn't he? Because, of course, against Yan Bingtao, he was 3-0 behind, and then won 5 on the bounce. Then he was 4-0 up against Dave Gilbert, and saw Gilbert coming back at him, but held his nerve when it mattered. That's a terrific pot from Dot. That's more like it from him. So it's just been a very impressive run to the semi-finals, the way in which he's gone about it against top-class opposition, but Dot's still got plenty of life left in him for sure.
Again, it is a long match, but this feels a big moment, doesn't it? Because he's got to capitalise on the opportunity here.
9.
Wasn't the smoothest bit of queuing, was it? But he's rattled the black in. Exciting for the crowd to see the emergence of a new talent like Fan as well. Of course, we didn't have fans at this event last year because of COVID. Played in lockdown. Mark Selby edging out Martin Gould. They were about the only people backstage during that tournament. They shared a cup of tea during the interval. So great to have the spectators back, but this is an important visit for Dot. He's been completely outplayed to this point, but it was a terrific red to get in. Now can he make the most of it? Scores level.
24. Quite
a big shot this, if he plays the blue, to come down the right side of the table to get to a red to the left corner. I think that the red by the pink will creep past, and you've got confirmation of that. We'll go past the pink and the red. It went quite easily. I had a long look at it, but we were right behind the shot, and it flies in there. Oh dear, that's an error. Goodness me. It really is. If he's on the red to the middle, he's very lucky, and he did put his hand up.
36.
Because he didn't play any part of the shot that he ended up getting. Caught the cue ball in the jaws in the right corner. That was lucky. Well, so was that, but it didn't stay out.
He's living on the edge a little, isn't he, in this break? But it's such an important one for Dot, just to establish himself in this semi-final.
Yeah, the pressure's beginning to mount. I mean, he's still got to take both these reds. This one did everything it could do to stay out.
So the lead goes to 20. Of course, he's going to need the final red.
Played it well, actually. All you want to be doing is playing these, looking
51.
Looking directly into the pocket, because there isn't much pocket to aim at. You're trying to cut it back. He had one piece of good fortune.
52.
But otherwise, it's a pretty gritty break, this. And what he needed. Stop the flow.
Typical Graham Dott, really. Tenacious counter-attack launched by that terrific long red. He's got all the experience in the world, and he to draw on that today, try and use that to his advantage. That's something clearly his opponent lacks, this
59.
sharp end of a tournament. And of course, there's a bit more room to manoeuvre now in a best of 11, first to 6. Plenty of time to recover from a shaky start. Fan has played some
62.
terrific stuff, but he's going to see his lead halved here.
66.
But this is a confidence boosting break from Dott. Remember, his highest contribution yesterday against Ryan Day was 49, so he's already bettered that.
Round up 66 on Looker.
A break of 66 from the former world champion to establish himself in this semi-final. Fan Zhengyi still leading by 2 frames to 1. Off the table, the Ang Wenbo, but of course it'll be all business on it.
Thank you, frame 4.
O'Sullivan going for his
Fan Zhengyi to
39th
break.
ranking title this weekend, and of course hot favourite. So many of the other leading lights having bitten the dust earlier in the week. Fan Zhengyi having accounted for a couple of them.
One.
Of course, Dott made the world final for the first time in 2004. He led Ronnie O'Sullivan 5-0 in that final and only won another 3 frames. And of course, he exacted revenge 2 years later when he beat Ronnie in the semi-finals. One of the more remarkable sessions in snooker history, actually, the penultimate session of that semi-final when Dott whitewashed O'Sullivan 8-0. And then, of course, overcame Peter Ebdon in the title match.
6.
Yeah, certainly it may have been that year, but one of the times he beat Ronnie, which I guess that might have been the only time, he gave his cue and case away, Ronnie, after the match to somebody in the audience, didn't he?
That was the one, yeah. Because actually, O'Sullivan flew out of the blocks in the final session. He had so much to do because he was so far behind and started to play as he can. But of course, it was way too late to mount the fight back, and then, as you say, to the delight of a startled-looking fan of his, he gave his cue to said
14.
spectator. And of course, Dott was also runner-up back in 2010 to Neil Robertson. So a fantastic crucible pedigree. But it's just 1 or 2 errors like
Round
that
up 40.
are holding him back at the moment.
Yeah, where did that come from? He actually made a couple of good shots already in this little break, just to get the red away from the black. I think he believed that he might have been hitting the side of the bunch there. That's why he put that much into it. Fan, but he avoided the bunch, and the cue absolutely roared back up the table to a position where he can't pot a colour.
方正2号
Could be a touching ball. It would certainly be good for Fan if it was. It is, and he says, so he can play away altogether. Requesting the spider. And he's watching over to make sure he doesn't hit anything with his cue. Looks very close to that red, doesn't he? Perfectly legal shot. And a pretty good one, although Graham is probably going to play a similar run up to the bunch. So I think the quiet spells in a match is where Graham's got to capitalise. Little spells where Fan is not knocking everything in, like we've seen him do so well. Graham will have to sort of try and inch his way into the match, try and break the rhythm of his opponent. He goes into a sort of just a potting match. I just get the feeling that the young Chinese player will win it.
Dot didn't get close to that long red. In fact, he hit the wrong side of it. So here's a chance for Fan to get back in.
One.
little bit straight on this blue. I don't think he can do a huge amount with it. A very slight angle, but to make it into a sort of wider angle, he'd have to use force, I think. As you can see, looking down the line of it, just a very slight angle. Amazing how much you can widen the angle. We saw it from that excellent side view that he didn't have a lot of room to play with, but he managed to play a good shot. Well, time to maybe have a rethink, but you're doing the right thing, because if you change your mind, you really have to go through the whole procedure again from scratch, and if you're going to play a different shot, you've got to give your full attention.
7.
Another excellent shot, you know. I mean, it really is. Positionally, that's ever so good.
He's been very good at getting the right side of the blue, hasn't he, with these positional shots. Make such a difference.
He's got a lot to like, hasn't he? I'm seeing it. I think he's improved over the course of the week. You know, I really do. He's growing in confidence. There's a lot to like about his game.
And
that's also an extremely good shot. Look at that position on the black.
There's
a little bit of thinking to do here, because as you saw, the little cluster of 6 reds, the right hand red, clearly that will go input to the right corner away from the others, but other than that there isn't anything particularly easy. You might have to nudge into them here. Ah, fantastic. And the way that he got the work on the ball, he kind of went into the bunch and then zoomed back into them again.
28.
That was a terrific shot, wasn't it? It shows he's got huge power as well.
Just fizzed back. Fantastic shot.
Split the reds perfectly.
It's very hard to get that amount of fizz on the ball off of a fairly controlled shot, but he managed it.
Now.
Now then, this is not one of his shots that he particularly likes. To cut it in, keep on coming away from the bunch. And straight away, you can almost see the shots that aren't suited to his game, and that was one of them. He'd just gone too far. To roll that in, he'd be very annoyed to have missed it. But right now, it's just the shots he'll need to work on. And Graham is going to have to take full advantage of that error.
Yes, it would be a great result for Dot to go in at 2 each. He's been largely outplayed in this mini session. Fan was going so well there, having opened the reds expertly, but the cut-back black eluding him. So the opportunity falls to Dot to square this match at the break.
Eight. 9. $16.
No. Oh, goodness. Well, I thought he caught too much of the jaw there.
So did he, I think. It was quite similar to the one that Fan missed, but Fan's... the black was a little bit further down the table. That was an error, but he was lucky to get away with it. He's sort of... living a bit dangerously, Graham. I mean, the third frame he won very well, but he could easily miss the red to the middle, which just fell in. It was the same sort of a shot. If he gets to 2-2, then be thankful that things could have been slightly different.
23.
Because he will need that right-hand red. That's going to be his problem ball, I think, here. Played that well. I don't know if he's got
30.
an angle to develop the other red here or not. I think he'd like to. I'm not sure he can. He tried to. And that's what you get. He lost control there playing that shot. He'd be absolutely hopping mad that he played that shot. Because he could have played on the colour and got the red out. He tried to move the red and the shot wasn't there. Because the in-off is a different story, but basically he'd lost control of the cue ball there. That's why he went off.
These frames always feel that little bit more significant, the tight frames that could go either way, and the difference between 3-1 Fan at the interval and 2 each.
Look at that for a shot, safety-wise. Very good. Yeah, this feels like a big moment, albeit in a long match. There's room to go around the back of this. He hasn't fallen for that mistake, but he's left a difficult go at the red because it's quite thin. Didn't look quite so difficult, did it, from that other angle? Well, there it's one of those shots. You can easily put it onto the bottom jaw and stay out. Getting onto the yellow is going to be tough. It's a very big frame now. See that yellow goes, but it's hard to get that side of the table from this shot. This is a great effort. The black was basically in the way of that shot, but he managed to avoid it with right-hand side. I know he's not perfect on the yellow, but it was still a good shot, I think, to land there.
Very significant moments early in this semi-final. Graham Dott had the opportunity, went in off, having lost prime position. And now Fan with the chance to steal. Still some work to do. Wasn't easy. Now where's the yellow going to end up?
He took a long time standing over that shot when he was addressing the ball, as if he didn't really feel comfortable on it.
He's had a result though. Could easily have left it.
Could be snookered, but yeah, he could have left it. So it is a significant exchange, this, isn't it? One that you would say that Graham Dott is probably more likely to win. Doesn't mean he will win, just with his experience.
Foul. The miss. Graham Dott.
Get the chance to have another go.
Yeah, the one cushion escape, sometimes you see that happen, whereas if you played a round of 2 cushions, then I suspect he'll hit it.
Okay.
Just a slight adjustment required. Trying to push it onto the side rail, and he's done that. So he's got the problem with that shot solved anyway. Plenty of possible snookering balls down the centre of the table. Looks to be a gap between them all though, so he can get directly at it.
Dott 8 points to the good. Fan would need the awkward pink to steal this frame.
Important, isn't it? I mean, obviously the fact that the position Graham is in this frame, less likely to need the pink, which obviously is a big deal, but otherwise the other balls are all there, so there's not a lot in it. Not a small favourite, but that's all. Well, it's quite thin. I think it'll pot, but it wouldn't be an easy pot. Cue ball not necessarily under complete control either. Deciding against it. I don't blame him actually. Although a series of kisses he had here. He knew nothing about that, and he puts his cue on the table to say, well, sorry about this. Little few nudges have gone Graham's way, I think. So far. Can change, obviously. It's a very quiet moment in the match, isn't it? But a very important stage before they break for the mid-session. Clearly, if Graham could get there at 2-all, I think he'd be quite thrilled because of the way the match has gone. Wouldn't be a terrible result for Fan, but probably feels that he's been the better player, and 3 out of the 4 frames would be a reflection of that. But there's not been a pot for 7 minutes, so it's been a spell of inactivity, but some good safety has been played during that time.
Double kiss, obviously not intended, but could have been worse. Yeah, Stott would be highly delighted, I'm sure, with 2 each. He was being royally outplayed in the first couple of frames. Got himself off the mark with that excellent break of 66 in the third. Both players have had chances in this one. Oh, that's a good pot. It's a very good pot. But is he on the green?
He may not even be able to get to the green. He's not on it in any sense of the word. So it was a good pot. But is it going to be his downfall?
Graham Dotson.
Well, that could have ended up anywhere in the event. It's landed safe. So on we go with this frame. Dot's lead now 10. So he still needs 3 of the remaining 5 colours.
I always think, Philip, that 10 in front on the green is a misleading lead because you need 3 balls and your opponent only needs 4. And his opponent only needs up to the pink, so it's one of those, it's not as many as it sounds.
Oh, not the in-off. Goodness.
E4.
Well, that changes everything, doesn't it? Because yeah, he's left him a long pot here, potentially. And he's been knocking these in for fun all week. Cue ball in hand. See how he gets on with this one, because it's difficult, but I wouldn't want to bet against it for too much, I tell you. Oh, just mixed those in over the pocket. I think when he can put that cue ball where he wants to in hand, he's devastating. He's overhit it slightly.
Yeah, it's one of those where we say he's hit it too well, which sounds ridiculous, but such was the quality of the strike that he got a bit more action on the cue ball than he actually wanted.
But the significance of that going in, Philip, is now that Graham needs the pink.
Yeah.
So, you know, it does count for something, at least, that it's gone in.
Yeah, there's
Fan
still some way to travel in this one.
It's not a one-trick pony. His safety's been pretty good as well. You know, I think clearly he's comes from a tough school in the academy where there's some brilliant prospects coming through. He's learning fast. Didn't play it like that. He played it too cushioned to hit it from behind, I think.
So this developing into quite a lengthy battle, but very important one. Both players needing brown, blue and pink.
Yeah, so I want to try and work out whose favour that was in, knocking the black out a bit there into a more potable position, but I don't think it really comes into the equation. He avoided the in off there, which would have been a pretty poor result to have, but close frames are always quite good to watch. In the context of this match, I don't know how many there will be. This is definitely one. Long, drawn-out battle on the colours here. But again, it's not bad, this. Quite got the snooker. Oh, this is another difficult shot, but will he be tempted by it?
Half an hour and counting. The difference between 3-1 Fan and 2 each at the interval. Fantastic shot.
His long game is sensational, isn't it? Let's be honest about it. Absolutely sensational.
So it's all about that pink that has remained glued to that side cushion quite some time now.
Nine.
Well, it looks to me as if he's opted to leave the double, but he hasn't really gone far enough to make that happen. Graham's biggest worry is if there's another safety exchange and his opponent only wants one ball, you don't leave him anything. It's almost like a decider, this frame, the way it's panned out.
Well, you're right, his potting, of course, speaks for itself, but he's also mixed it tactically with Dot so far this afternoon.
Graham, not only in the rest of this frame and for the remainder of the match, you're going to have to think my safety is going to have to be watertight here, because he can knock these balls in from all kinds of places. My opponent, and at the moment he wants one ball. It's a hard-fought frame. Might go a long way to telling us who wins the match this frame. Well, he's not left him a pot anyway. The twice across safety shot is pretty playable here, I think. Send the cue ball, the pink ball across 2 cushions into the bolt cushion. That's okay. I say that because he might be tempted by this, given that the cue ball's coming down towards the black, but this would be a very difficult shot to get.
Coming round to look at the angle. And Fan, of course, only needs the pink. Went full-blooded for the pot there, Dot, but no joy. So this for 3-1. And in it goes. So a terrific start to the semi-final for Fan Zhengyi, playing his first last 4 match in a ranking event, and so far so very good. Welcome back to the Marshall Arena and the second half of our first semi-final here at the Bet Victor European Masters. Graham Dott, the 2006 world champion, twice ranking titleist with work to do. He's been outplayed to this point by 21-year-old Fan Zhengyi from China, appearing in his first ever ranking semi-final and acquitting himself very well so far. A 1-3-1 total clearance, the highlight of that mini session, but equally impressive the way in which he was able to mix it tactically with Dot in that lengthy 4th frame, which he eventually won on the pink after Dot had taken it on, needing pink and black. And that's another trademark bit of excellence from long range. We've seen a lot of that throughout this tournament from Fan. He's 3 frames away.
Six. Seven. Fan Zhengyi, sir. One. Eight. 9. Forty. 50.
Graham Dott came into this tournament ranked down at 47. Of course, he's formerly a world number 2, but
22.
with this run to the last 4, he's provisionally up to 34th spot in the end of season
23.
rankings. He'll also be in Newport next week for the Welsh Open and Antalya the week after for the new Turkish Masters, so seems to be finding some of his old form at a good time in the season. You know how good he can be at the Crucible.
30.
Didn't play a great shot there, did he? There was a big angle on the black, but he tried to force one, but he hasn't managed to get Keeble to manoeuvre up the table all that far.
Just a reminder, we're back at 7 o'clock this evening for the second semi-final. Ronnie O'Sullivan taking on Liang Wenbo. Tomorrow's final will be played over the best of 17 frames, first to 9, to collect the trophy and that winner's prize of £80,000. 35,000 to the runner-up. 17,500 guaranteed for getting to the semi-finals.
37.
So Graham Dott looking to make the most of
44.
fans. Missed black off its spot just now after Fan had got in with another great red. Made 66 in the frame he won before the interval. Had chances to level the match in the 4th frame, but it wasn't to be for him.
No, as I said at the time, it seems to be a crucial 4th frame. But I suppose it's like anything else. You know, Fan has already missed a black off the spot here, and if Graham can win this frame, then it won't count for quite so much as I think the previous.
40.
It looked like a big target, but there were a few holes in amongst the bunch, and he found one.
47.
So that's not enough that he's made there. It was a calculated risk, and he hasn't had many occasions in his match where he's not got on a ball when he's taken a risk.
Graham Dott, 47.
I think Graham thought that this was a real chance to nudge a red or two, but there was a gap and he found it.
A little bit of luck there for Fan. Having missed the red, that could have ended up anywhere and very easily in a straightforward pot for Dott. As it is, it's a bit trickier. Oh dear. Wow, that was a big misjudgment from Graham.
It's got to be one of the worst shots he's played all season. I should think the double kiss there was a pretty elementary one. Did not want to give Fan this chance back. Hang on a minute, I'm not sure he's done any damage. We've seen 2 sloppy shots, one from each player in the last 2 visits to the table. This was Graham's shot, which, I mean, the double kiss was a terrible shot really, and with Fan the Cannon misjudged on the red on the cushion, so neither mistake could still be very costly.
Plunging you one.
This is another very bad shot. What's he doing? I mean, this is so unlike Graham Dodd. It's such an all-round game. Been in 3 world finals, and that tells you you've got a really tough game. But he's played 2 very bad shots in a row.
One.
Against someone who's extremely dangerous.
Well, if the previous frame was frustrating for Dot, this would be doubly so if he were to relinquish this one. Having got in with that break of 47. A couple of errors. The first one not costly. This one remains to be seen.
Oh, without going into it again, but I did watch this game against David Gilbert, and it was a series of brilliant shots.
8.
A few mistakes. And they just kept coming back for more with the long pots going in. David Gilbert just couldn't keep him out for any length of time.
9.
And then when it looked for all the world like it was going to go 4-all, because Gilbert from 4-0 got to 4-3, he was a long way in front of the next. He made a great clearance to snatch the frame and win the match. So at times you felt that his opponent was getting to him, but he had something to offer.
You saw that Fan well in front as regards pot percentage for the match. Well into the 90s, Dot below 85%, which at this level is
40.
a little mediocre. This is a tester though, having got the wrong side of the blue this time. Now well played.
50.
As he got position though.
Well, the answer is absolutely not. I mean, he may pop one still, because we've seen it already, but finishing there is making his next pot very awkward. He's going to drop this in. Not a nice shot to be rolling.
$22. $23.
So, getting quite worrying now for the Scotsman that he allowed this chance. This black takes him towards the red, and the slender lead that he has might not mean anything after the next shot if he gets the positional side of it right. Nothing flashed there, but it was quite well played.
30.
Well, he missed one of these earlier on, and this time he's just going to play it to roll it in off the cushion, going up towards the yellow. The one that he missed, and we overcut it. He was playing in a certain area on the table. This is a natural, but like I say, he did miss one.
If it goes in, could be a frame winner. This time, no trouble.
38.
Obviously, the next objective will be to make sure he's got an angle on the brown ball, not straight, when he ends up playing that.
40.
Well, he's not got a good angle on the green, never mind the brown. So his next shot on the brown will certainly not be straight. It'll be a cutback, and not quite the same, but of course he had that chance for the 147, didn't he? I tell you what, the brown he'll be left with here is not dissimilar to that. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember exactly where the balls were, but Mr. Brown into that pocket that was below its spot against Kyron Wilson for a 147. What if that's on his mind?
So another big shot in the context of this semi-final. And it goes.
47.
So he needs the blue and the pink. The blue will be enough that Dot can only tie. If the blue goes in, surely the pink will follow. Well, his potting has been extremely good, but he's also winning the tight frames, and that's a pretty potent combination in a match of this significance.
58 in the frame.
Back-to-back frames that could have gone either way. They've both gone Fan Zhengyi's way, and Graham Dott's in real trouble now. Fan extending his lead to 3 frames and within 2 with a famous victory in a first ranking final. He leads the former world champion by 4 frames to 1.
Thank you, frame 6. Fan Zhengyi to break.
So Fan Zhengyi continuing to dominate here. He's won 2 tight frames either side of the interval to extend his lead to 3 frames and to put him within 2 for the European Masters final showdown with either Ronnie O'Sullivan or Liang Wenbo. They're in action this evening, of course, from 7 o'clock. Graham Dott with a lot to do now to get himself involved in this last 4 match. A couple of errors in the last frame, the second of which proved fatal. He'll keep going for his shots, that's what he does. He's a very aggressive player, Dott. But they've got to start going in at this stage.
Over screwed slightly. It's not too bad, but straighter would have been enabled him to get on the red above the black to the left corner. We can't do so now. Quite a one-sided game potentially, isn't it, the way things are going, and Graham's moment has been and gone where he could have got 2-2, he could have taken the last frame. Not over by any means, I'm not saying that, but at the moment it's all about one player and his opponent desperately trying to stem the tide.
7.
He's not able to do so, Graham Dott. That's not a good shot. Got away with it a little bit there. Didn't mean to cannon into the green. You look at the respective world rankings. Graham Dott as low as 47 for him. That's a ranking that he's been better than that for a long time. Fan Zhengyi, well, number 80, but that's on the up in a big way. Missed that one though, overcut it by a long way.
Fan Zhengyi.
Yes, if Fan does win today, he'll be up into the high 50s in the end of season rankings, but that one goes astray, so Dot with the chance. Hard to see him winning from 5-1 down. So this frame is a must for him, you would think.
One.
And immediately, not ideal
Green ball.
by any means. You can just feel the frustration in Graham Dott at the moment. He's getting the odd chance, but he's not really making it pay.
They can't get to the left side of the bunch with the black there. It's quite well played by Graham Dott, but not really causing too many problems all the same by just dropping into the bunch. Puts more long ones than short ones, doesn't he?
One.
Anything from distance, he knocks them in. Misses the odd one when he's close up. A 7 out of 10, and most of those 7 have been very high quality. And occasionally, you'll see players have knocked long pots in there over the pocket. Well, that's not been the case this afternoon. Not too bad.
5. Fanjing 5.
To underline your point, surprising miss from Fan.
Should have put it 10 feet away from it. He would have missed it then, instead of a couple of feet.
Of course, he was 4-0 up against Dave Gilbert in the previous round, and Gilbert got it back to 4-3, very nearly forced to the cider, and Scott sinks that red. I guess the danger is that, particularly when you're not really used to playing in a match of this gravitas, that you get ahead of yourself, you start to think about what might happen rather than stay in the moment. That's something that Fan has to guard against. Yes, he's in a strong position, but it's not a winning one yet. And Dot will keep coming, of that you can be sure. He is tenacious.
He's looked here at various ways of getting the bunch open directly. He's a bit worried about the black going near the left corner, I think. I can see why he's worried about it. That was a good indication of why he played it at that speed.
11.
And if you can foresee these sort of things happening, or potentially happening, then you're taking bad luck out of the equation a bit. Unfavourable nudge on the red puts the bunch of reds in the way of the black. The black which of course is previously developed into an open space. Well, this is not an easy one. Where's queuing? No.
Graham Dott, 17.
I don't think he really wanted to play it. He reluctantly knew he had to. He could just get by the other red. He actually hit more of it, I believe, than he suspected that he could. The other red wasn't in the way at all. But he hasn't left a pot for Fan, who's already shaping up to play safe. Well, he was, and then he took on a pretty ambitious long red. I suppose the value was there. Had he gone in, he might have been on a high value colour. Again, we're at a point where there's a quiet spell in the match, which Graham Dott has got to try and ensure works for him better than his opponent. There's another close frame, or possibly one, which we've identified that right now Graham is not really winning these frames, surprisingly.
Three.
Just a reminder that for the second semi-final this evening we'll be on Eurosport 1 as well as here on Discovery Plus and the Eurosport app. Ronnie O'Sullivan against Liang Wenbo.
Four.
And then potting that in that side of the pocket, I don't know if he can cut the black in. He may be able to, it's very thin if so. He might be forced into playing this pink. If he rolls the pink in, it's not dissimilar to the red he just missed. Into that same pocket. A bit of stunning in this time, which helps.
Ten. Eleven.
I think it's a pretty good shot. I think he played
18.
to avoid hitting the reds and to land in behind that top one. I think it was well played from Graham Dott. It's a bit more like it. More positive perhaps than he was earlier in the match. Graham's not won yet, of course.
24.
That time, not one of his better shots, overhitting slightly for position.
Yeah, maybe that miss was partly due to the frustration he felt in losing good position on the red. He's struggling, isn't he, at the moment?
And he just overhit the blue, and as you say, he hadn't left the last shot behind in his mind, has he? And that was why he missed. Still thinking about what had gone before. Very easy to do at this game.
So 29, Dot's advantage, still 59 available. Didn't get close to that one, and you could see his frustration. Furious with himself.
Of course, he's got the worry again here, although he'll think he's all right this time, is that, you know, if he leaves anything at long range out, Danny's going to completely devour it, isn't he? But not on this occasion, because it's a good shot from Graham. So he's not the worst safety player I've seen, for someone who's a real potter. You know, he directs that cue ball into good areas.
There you go, virtually nothing to choose in tactical stakes. Graham Dot is good in that department, of course, so that's a compliment to Fan. He's matched Dot tactically, and he's outplayed him in terms of the potting and the break building to this point, but still time for things to change. But this feels like a must-win frame for Dot.
What has he left this time? I don't know if that red just by the blue will go past the pink into the left corner. If so, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a go at it. Not had a strong look at it yet. Maybe the pink is close to being in the way. There's that one, but he's set his mind on the one to the opposite corner. Not so easy, this. It was quite tight. It only just went by the looks of things. Played it in such a way that he wasn't that confident for once, because of where the cue ball finished. That was the indication of it. Again, Graham almost nervously looks towards the table, knowing that he's left something at long range, albeit, you know, another difficult one. Well, he's taking this on. This is a difficult long pot. So for once he doesn't put one. Nor does he leave anything easy.
A little bit risky, isn't it? Leaving Fan with these long pots, because more often than not he's been drilling them in. Dot knows it. No mistake this time.
One.
kiss could have been kinder.
Yeah, it was a beautiful pot, wasn't it? What's he doing here? He's looking sort of pointing the cue somewhere in the direction of the green pocket. I don't know why he'd want to finish over that side. I never thought 1 second he was going to miss the pop there, but he hit it so well he screwed it off, didn't he? Extraordinary. It was so straight that he didn't know where the cue ball would finish. I knew the pot would go in because he doesn't miss that sort of shot, but just got hold of it too much.
Incredible. I mean, what a bit of cueing that is. Look at the action he got on the white. Given the distance between the cue ball and the blue, all the more impressive, but of course he's been penalised for it. But he's not out of this frame by any means. 33 now, the deficit, with 51 remaining.
So again, a quiet spell. Graham's concentration needs to be at his best. He's got to get this frame. I mean, he's in a winning position, but not. He wouldn't absolutely be sure that Fan wouldn't clear up given the chance. So he's in a winning position, but he's got to turn winning position to the frame wins. He's at 4-1. Really can't afford any more slip-ups.
Yes, he's lost back-to-back frames that were both close. He can't afford for that to happen for a third time. Made a break of 47 in the previous frame, ultimately in vain. 47 points on the board this time. But still with work to do to secure this frame and close the gap to 2. Give fans something to think about. Oh, goodness me, that couldn't have gone much more wrong than it has. He holds his hand up because he's not left anything, or certainly nothing easy.
No, he hasn't, and I mean, he did want to do everything he could to avoid those 2 reds, and he's crashed straight into the middle of them. Yeah, I mean, he could have left the whole game there, maybe the whole match. This is tough. played it well, didn't he? In such a way that you know, he's going to be on a colour. Graham is absolutely enraged about the shot he played before. I mean, really, if this frame goes against him, then his mood is not going to be all that, is it?
Terrific pot. Fine pocket.
7.
In other words, he's looking away from where he's aiming.
Yeah, and just looking at what he needs, you know, it's not impossible that he could easily end up not needing that black that's safe. If he takes some highish value colours here, would be not that many behind.
He's been very solid, as you can see, with the rest. One or two of them not straightforward. That one was, but
8.
he's been infallible with the rest today. There's been a lot to like about his whole game, isn't there?
He's got to watch him here. Well, he's got to be careful here. Just thinking about what the scores are going to be. Can he get the frame one without needing the black? I think he probably will. Oh, he's missed that. Well, dear. Now, hang on a minute. That's a real mistake. One of the first, I would say, that was a genuine error at a crucial stage. His concentration maybe wavered a bit. Graham was very quickly out of his chair. He senses maybe an opening here. Not so much only in the frame if he wins it, but just generally, maybe a change.
Yeah, you could see the disappointment in Fan, perhaps more so than with any other error he's made so far today. Oh, but wait a minute, goodness me.
Graham Dott 1.
He's a bit jumpy, isn't he, Graham Dott, at the moment?
Well, he didn't play on the green. That's the thing. He potted the red and he played up for the brown. He didn't want to dwell on it, so I just had knocked the green in, and now he's missed it. Then, I mean, can you believe it? Can you believe he can still win this frame here? Somehow.
He needs all the colours to win by 1.
Well, that was wonderfully struck. Goodness me, that was well hit. Too well, if anything.
I've said that a few times this afternoon.
He gets hold of them, doesn't he? This is another important shot. His concentration has gone a bit. It's gone more than a bit, I think, for the moment. The wheel's fallen off slightly.
Yeah, this is pretty edgy stuff now from both of them. Fan perhaps beginning to think about the possibility of playing in the final. Still 2 frames away. Graham Dott just trying to get something going. He's really struggling, but here's another chance. This is frame ball green for a second time. And he's missed it for a second time. It's run safe at least. But it is very edgy stuff right now. He's struggling. He knows he has to win this frame. Cannot afford to lose a third tight frame in a row.
Hard to fathom how this frame is still going, isn't it?
Never easy when the object ball is out in the open when you're snookered.
Played it well, hasn't he?
Yeah, good contact to get the green towards the side cushion.
This is a very poor shot. It's a really bad shot. I mean, if he's going to play that and not do anything else, he has to get the green safe.
So here is a third opportunity on the green for Dott to get to the snooker's required stage. And he's overcut it this time.
He's all over the place, isn't he, Graham? This has been an otherwise very entertaining match. It's been a pretty dire frame, but it's actually important. Wait a minute. He's playing a shot which allowed that snooker to be made. It's a horrible snooker to be in. Get the feeling that Graham was never going to pot frame ball, but it might turn out he doesn't need to, because he's likely to miss this. It's very hard to hit.
Yeah, as you can see, he's got to hit it, of course, otherwise he will need snookers.
Oh,
surely now.
Graham Dott 4.
This frame is over. Well, it's been a struggle, to put it mildly, but Graham Dott has finally got over the line, having missed this green 3 times to make the frame secure. It's the snooker that did it in the end for him. Not a frame that will live long in the memory for quality, but a vital one for Graham Dott. 5-1 down with the way he's playing. Very hard to see any comeback from there. 4-2, more manageable. And Fan has just shown 1 or 2 signs of fallibility in the last 15-20 minutes or so. It's a huge day for him, of course, and perhaps the magnitude of what he's doing this week is beginning to
Graham Dott 12 and the front.
bite just a little. And Graham Dott will be hoping to feed off that. Shakes his head. He's not happy by any means with the way he's playing, but he'll be happy enough to have won the frame to close the gap to 4 frames to 2.
Thank you, frame 7. Graham Dott to break.
So Graham Dott, crucially from his point of view, winning that very scrappy, error-strewn 6th frame. Up off the break very quickly, bringing a red down the table. Has he left it? He's not playing at all well at the moment, Dott, but he is such a competitor, such a fighter, that you certainly wouldn't rule him out, and having won that frame, he's given himself a realistic chance of getting back into it. How is Fan feeling at the moment? Just 1 or 2 errors beginning to creep into his game after a superb start. Of course, he made that 1-3-1 total clearance on his way to a 2-0 lead. Won a tight half-hour long frame just before the interval, and then another one straight afterwards. Dott back in early in frame number 7. 6, of course, the target.
Five.
Well, he's gone into them, but I'm not sure how it's gone. Not particularly well by the looks of things. Yeah, I mean, if you can get this frame to get the 4-3, then he really has got his teeth into the game at long last, and he really hasn't played all that well today, Graham. But he's got to take the cube up the table, so he's not taking advantage of it. Fan left the arena after that last frame as if to say, well, I need to sort of clear my head a little. He was brilliant at the start, absolutely sensational, and that form has deserted him for now. But at the start of the match, if he'd said to him, well, you know, I'm going to be a couple of frames up at 4-2, well, he'd absolutely been thrilled with that.
average frame time of shade over 20 minutes, which is on the longish side. Some have been a lot shorter than that. We've had a couple of more lengthy ones in recent times. The last 3 frames have all been tight. Crucially, from Doc's point of view, he was able to win the most recent of those.
I think he believes he can't quite get through to the red near the pocket. The pink's just covering the potting angle. A lot of reds in the way of each other. Not easy to get a safety shot out here, and he's been on it for a while looking at this. Having a look for a minute, and I don't think it's not really any closer to coming up with the answer. It's a difficult one, this. I don't even think he's got any clear and obvious pot that he can go for. Well, he didn't play a bad shot really, but of course he got the kiss on the blue and left the red on right within Van's ballpark, this one. I think this is just what Van needed, a good chance fairly early in the frame to get points on the board and to put Dot under pressure. There can be no excuse from here that he wouldn't make a few. It's a good opportunity that when the blacks respotted, it's not going to be simple to keep the break going, but the reds are nicely placed. Not pleased once again. Only got a safety shot, and I suppose his models will make it a good one. At least he doesn't show his frustration, but I think he must be feeling at the moment. He knows he's broken down. He knows he should have made more. But then he thinks, well, okay, I'm still going to give it my all on the safety shot. The biggest sort of session of snooker he's ever played. Now he's had a season and a half of pretty average results, has to be said, average at best, since he got his tour card. But things in the last few weeks seem to have changed much for the better. But now he's in a chance of getting into a ranking tournament final. Just hit the buffers a little bit in the last half an hour or so.
Yeah, you just wonder whether it is the realisation that he's that close that perhaps has just interfered with his concentration and his ability to stay in the moment. But Graham Dott, by the same token, you would think would have to raise his level pretty appreciably if he's to prevail this afternoon from anything we've seen to this point. Just the one break of note to win the third frame, the 66. Fell over the line in the previous frame. That 131 total clearance from Fan, which was sensational, not just because of the size of the break, but the quality of it. Feels a long time ago now.
He's going to need some cover from the red over the hole.
One.
And for once, it's not worked out too badly that he's got a shot at the pink. She couldn't have known anything about, obviously. Just looking where the pink spot is clearly covered, so in potting the pink, it goes on the black spot, which is where he wants it. He wants it away from there, with the four reds are all in line.
Beginning to feel as though there's something of a sea change in this match. Maybe Graham Dott having won that very scrappy sixth frame, and no doubt sensing that Fan is struggling a little bit now.
8.
He's beginning to think that this match is still well within his compass. This is a good chance to put something substantial together.
$40. $15.
Nice little nudge. Yeah, I agree
21.
with Philip that this match is... We're not saying that Graham Dott's going to win, but he's certainly getting into a bit of a rhythm of his own. And Fan,
22.
who's not been at this stage of a tournament before, he's just got to think now, you know, how's he going to win the semi-final when his opponent is as experienced as Graham? Pretty much unknown territory for him as a snooker player. All the practice that he would have done.
28.
It's kind of now it all means something. It really means something.
29. $35.
He's certainly battle-hardened this week, and indeed throughout his career, Graham Dott. He's had 3 final frame deciders to get this far, so he won't be afraid about the prospect of a close finish.
$42. 43.
Yeah, just a little bit of rhythm now being gained. This is in the context of this match, a pretty valuable break.
Faulty. Faulty-9.
So 57 in front, 59 left, just this red
55.
to pull another frame back. And this is more like it than Graham got. He's got that glint in his eye again. Second half century of the match. Just magnifies the importance of the previous frame, which he made a real meal of winning and could have lost. And had he lost it, well, very difficult to have seen a way back for him, but the complexion of this match is rather different now. He's the player with the momentum, and it's up to Fan Zhengyi to respond, because he's seen his 4-1 advantage reduced to just a single frame at 4 frames to 3. And look at that determination on the face of Graham Dott. Grits his teeth. He's up for this now. He trails by 1. The series at the end of those 8 events, the Gibraltar Open,
Frame 8.
coming up in the middle of next month. Ronnie O'Sullivan will be top if he wins this title this weekend, as the bookmakers certainly think he will. As Fan Zhengyi breaks off in frame number 8, a possible 11. And of course, following Gibraltar, there's the small matter of qualifying for the World Championship before the main event at the Crucible, mid-April to early May. You can enjoy it all with us here on Eurosport.
Yeah, some determination certainly showing, as Philip pointed out. Yeah, a little snarl at the end of the previous frame, as you say, well, I feel like I'm in this match now. And that's certainly the case. We're going to find out quite a lot about where Fan is with his game. I mean, we've seen him, he's been the revelation this week, but as I pointed out, for a season and a half, he had a series of absolutely terrible results, really. But that's understandable as a new pro. He's 21 years of age, but he wasn't beating anybody. This week he's beating everybody. On the side of the coin. But this match is proving a different test to all the others, it seems. Graham is really getting his teeth into it now.
Most recently made a ranking final at the World Grand Prix in 2020, Graham Dott. Was also finalist at the German Masters back in 2018. He was on the wrong end of one of the most complete performances of Mark Williams' career that day. At the Templeton 9-1, he was beaten. Williams was just outstanding in all departments, and of course that was a precursor to Williams winning his 3rd world title. So he has been at the sharp end of events in recent times. Not so this season, of course. He's had his struggles, but he's found something this week, although clearly won't be thrilled with how that's worked out.
No, I mean, he got on the black nicely, but the red just came around and got in the path, didn't it? What's he playing here?
Graham Dott 5.
Interesting. Well, that was what he played, it seems. He's played nominated green.
He was up very quickly again. He's very conscious of the threat that Fan Zhengyi carries from long range, and he knew as soon as he hit that he wasn't finding the baulk cushion or anywhere near it. Not this time though, he missed that one by, oh hang on, missed it by a way.
And that's quite revealing, isn't it, because he was drilling those in all the way through the first few frames in all of his matches up until this one as well. So he's, to use the snooker phrase, he's gone a little bit. But I'm not ruling out that he mightn't come back. I think he's a very good player. But for now, the wind has been taken out of his sails quite a lot.
Well, I guess there are some echoes from his quarter-final with Dave Gilbert when he led 4-0. Everything was simple, plain sailing, completely in control, and then one or two errors allowed Gilbert to get back into the match. Got back to 4-3, very nearly forced a decider, but he managed to regroup in time to see that out.
He made a really good last red to colours and the black clearance. I mean, he knocked the pink out from a good position on the blue. He did well to clear up to stop the decider. Had it gone 4-all, then you'd have said that Gilbert would have been the player who had everything going for him in that decider, but he didn't quite make it that far. So he's capable of finding it again, finding his best form, but he'll need to, I think.
A lot of gesticulation at the moment from Graham Dock. Frustration at missing this red by the margin he did, and in the process he's left it. Fan could really do with a nerve-settling break now, couldn't he? Just put some points on the board, rediscover that rhythm he had in the first couple of frames. Another shake of the head from Graham, who's living every shot out there.
What if he's going into the bunch here? Well, he needs a result, and he has had a result, and that is very good. He's got a really big scoring chance here. Can he take it, is the question. Earlier in the match, it would have been probably frame over from this position. So where is his game right now is the question. We're about to find out.
$17. $18.
I think the bottom red goes into the right corner. He's certainly been around to have a double check on that. I'm sure he played that particularly well. He'd like to have been a lot straighter. Now he has no choice but to go into other reds, and he would hate to sort of break down positionally for his colour here. That's when he's getting going. So wanted to play it fairly cautiously. But now he's a bit further away from this black than he would like. This is the kind of shot which is not impossible to miss when you're under a bit of pressure. Well, he got lucky there. He didn't really hit it with any authority. But somehow the red goes to the middle pocket.
.33.
Well, again, there's a delicate little kiss which has left the red to the middle potable.
It's
a bit more like it. I know it was a good chance when he came to the table. Certainly when he opened the reds up off the yellow ball. So just got his rhythm back, which was very good early. Graham gradually wore him down, I think, in the middle of the match, and didn't do himself any favours either. It went slow. But ultimately, both players know that that's not going to be enough to win you the match. And a pot and score, that's what this game's all about. The other side of it is all very important, but however good you are in the tactical and safety side of the game, you won't win you a match unless you end up potting balls as a consequence. Quite lucky again there, to be honest. He didn't play it quite like that.
50.
A bit hit or miss this break, but he's still going.
.55.
His third half century of the match, the first since he took that 4-1 lead. 50 in front, 59 left, so one more red after this pink, and he should be 2 up with 3 to play. If this goes in, Dot will need 2 snookers. Exactly what was required from Fan Zhengyi's point of view. Dot took on the long red into the right corner, missed it by a margin, left it, and he's been punished.
.68. .69.
I think it'll be a relief to him in more ways than one. Not only that he's got another frame and now he's 1 away, but he knew that he wasn't going to win the match the way that his game. It kind of fell to pieces for a couple of frames, it has to be said. He really did, but it was massively in contrast to how he was at the beginning. And now there's a bit more bounce in him, just that his game's back. He's found his equilibrium here and he's doing what he does, and the frame's long since won, so it's a good effort, that.
Very much so, yeah. 77 will do, and Graham Dott now has it all to do. No room for manoeuvre for the former world champion now. He's 2 down with 3 to play. Fan Zhengyi, 1 frame away from his first ever ranking final. He leads 5 frames to 3. And Alan McManus will be here to bring you commentary of that match. It'll be on Eurosport 1.
Thank you, frame
as
9.
well as here on Discovery Plus and the app. So, the point of no return for Graham Dott. 5-3 adrift in a race to 6. And again, up very quickly off the break, and no wonder as he hits the blue. It's the last thing he needed, isn't it? After Fan had restored his rhythm, his flow with that 70+ break, to allow him straight back in at the start of this frame, the one that he requires for victory.
Didn't like that one, did he? Clearly, the green didn't go in to the middle of the pocket. The cue ball sort of went further down the table, perhaps, than it should have done, but he's still on the red. Maybe just thought he didn't hit it well. Going back briefly to tonight's second semi-final, I guess the big hurdle for Liang, and of course we know he's good friends with Ronnie off the table, is a rather ugly looking head-to-head from his point of view. Played 10 times, O'Sullivan's won 9 of them. That rivalry dating back to their quarter-final meeting at the World Championship back in 2008. Liang's solitary win, the International Championship in China back in 2013. There was that match in the Masters, wasn't there, which Wenbo missed the black to win 6-4, left it over the pocket, the last black, and of course Ronnie not only potted it, won the frame, made I think a century in the last, and then won the Masters that year.
Yeah, 2017. Good to see Liang playing well again. He's, by his own admission, been in the doldrums for the last 2 or 3 seasons. In fact,
11.
The way he put it was that he'd been lazy, perhaps just not putting the work in that he'd had previously, but he seems to have got his appetite for the game back, and it's showing in his results.
Yes, our colleague last night was, when McGill was still going strong, saying it could be an all-Scottish final, but I reminded him that it could be an all-Chinese final yet. You know, everyone assumes that Sullivan is clearly the man to beat, but the way things are going, in Wenbo, if he could beat him, seeing an all-Chinese final, which would be something in a UK event. And we had a Masters final with Ding Junhui and also Hong Kong's Marco Fu, didn't we, a few years ago?
Yeah, Ding played Zhao Guodong, didn't he, in the first all-Chinese ranking final. The season that he won then, a record equalling 5 ranking titles in a single season, since eclipsed, of course, by Judd Trump. Meanwhile, Fan building this break gradually. He's going to have to attend to the reds pretty soon.
Well, Philip, there's no doubt about it. Today is the biggest match of his life, and if he wins it, tomorrow will be even bigger. But he's growing in confidence in his second season.
Big shot coming up here.
Oh, he's missed that by an absolute mile. That really was miles away. Got hold of it too much.
31.
So the break is very much over. Little semblance of a smile on his face there.
Yeah, hoping that would carry him to the European Masters final, getting into the reds, opening them up, continuing the break as it is. A handy lead, certainly, of 31 points. 31. Put the pressure on dot. Talking of Ding Junhui, of course, he's in action next week in Newport after his recent problems, loss of form, perhaps a bit of loss of motivation as well, falling out of the top 16. But as they say, form is temporary, class permanent, and with big tournaments still to come before the season's end, not least the World Championship, which is the one big trophy missing from Ding's cabinet. Who knows? Perhaps he's going to spring back to life. It'll be good to see him return to his best form. Maybe the Welsh Open will be the start of it. You can follow it all with us here on Eurosport, of course. Meanwhile, Fan has a bit of running there, leaving Graham Dott right over the green.
This is very awkward queuing, isn't it, as pointed out. The only good thing there is he avoided the double kiss.
Just.
It was mighty close, wasn't it? It could have been fatal.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the edge now, isn't he? I mean, really, there is no more leeway for Graham. You know, he's 5-3 down. He's already 30 odd behind here. So, you know, another mistake, surely, you know, there's every chance it would be the last sort of few moments of the match if he did make one. Well, that'll cheer him up. See him not going. I think the red at the top of the bunch is available if he wants to play on it rather than into the bunch. So he's got the angle. If he wants to get into this bunch of reds here, now could be a very opportune moment. It's just a slight angle, the way the reds are formed. He's got to be careful he don't hit the sort of the right side of them and going off. He's not hit the right side, and he's played that quite nicely. In fact, that's a good shot from Graham. That really is. That's opened up a few doors 50. For him.
Graham Dott's enduring qualities is his determination, his fight. He'll never throw in the towel. He'll still be backing himself to turn this around. And he knows his form is there. He's not necessarily shown it today or indeed yesterday in a match which was pretty nervy and tension filled and error strewn against Ryan Day, but he found a way through nonetheless, and he could still do so today.
21.
It's okay, just a tiny bit shy of pace there. I don't think he's going to come into it and play this probably off the cushion onto the red. As you can see, he didn't want to be quite that angle. Covered nicely there.
27. 28. 35. 36.
Quick check of the scores, you'll realise that
43.
he could conceivably win the frame with 3 reds and blacks and not need
44.
the safer of the remaining reds, but it seems unlikely that he'll be able to get a black with either the 2 reds that are up the table. So there's a little bit more to be achieved yet before we can say that the frame is going his way.
He's definitely picked his game up, Dot, in the second half of this match, but clearly doesn't have too much wiggle room at this stage. 2 down with 3 to play. His third half century. Can he convert it into a frame winning one to get back to within 1 and keep the pressure on Fan?
So now he knows that he's not going to be able to get this frame one without putting both of the remaining reds. So I think the red on the right side of the table. Oh, he's missed that. Goodness me. Well, he's thinking ahead. We all were. So once he couldn't pot a black, he needed to get on that right-hand red. But to miss the green, wow. I mean, it was a sitter, wasn't it? Let's be honest. He's right behind it.
It's not been a happy ball for him, has it? He missed it 3 times. In the frame he won to close to 4-3 behind. Eventually winning that frame after he laid a snooker, which Fan failed to escape from. But that one was glaring.
Well, that could have made things very interesting had that gone in, couldn't it? The clearance really was on. Now, of course, Graham with another chance. So that miss on the green might not count for anything if this goes in. Goodness me, they're both at it now. They're both at it. This is getting very edgy.
And it's entirely understandable. Fan on the brink, on the very cusp now of something remarkable, really. And for Graham Dott, looking to get back to winning ways again after a barren spell. To give himself the chance to win another major trophy. It would be just his 3rd ranking title if he could come through today and triumph tomorrow.
It's remarkable, really, isn't it? Been 3 world finals, he's won a world title, but as you say, he's not exactly set the world alight, apart from at the Crucible.
He'll turn 45 in May.
It's not a very nice shot, is it? Because he's got to use left-hand side. And running against the nap, anything could happen on these. That's played it well, to be fair. Played it very well. His lead of 21 points, you know, where the balls are, don't count for much. The 2 reds and all the colours are sort of virtually in the centre of the table. So that lead is slender. Looking the blue a little safe is not really in Fan's favour. That's the one hurdle to jump, I suppose, if the clearance ever happens.
Won the lead for Dot. 43 left. Oh, what a pot. Hang on, there's the cue ball. One.
Now this is where he might have to be a little clever here. Now what would he do? I would think to consider pushing the blue over the top right pocket and getting the snooker behind the brown. It's got to be the right shot here. And he knows that, and that's one good thing. I know he hasn't got the snooker, which is a shame, but it was still a good move, I think. Getting the snooker would have helped, of course.
Yeah, with the position of the balls, that 20-point lead, as you alluded to, doesn't count for a lot, does it, potentially? Hang on.
Oh dear, what a dreadful shot from Graham. Of all people you wouldn't think would make a misjudgment like that, it would be him.
Well, this is a clear chance for Fan Zhengyi to win the match and book his place in a first-ranking final. What a moment for him.
One.
The nerves will be jangling.
Now you see the importance of getting the blue out. Where it was awkward for brown to blue, blue to pink. Now it's not awkward. He's got options here. I mean, he doesn't have to play the blue, but if he does, he's going to have to get hold of the cue ball, something he's had no problem with when he screws back. And also his rest play has been good. I'm not trying to put the mockers on him, I'm just telling you up until now what he's been doing.
6.
Every shot now carrying extra pressure, so close to victory. Yeah, and that's enough to make anything missable.
I think he may have fluked a snooker. If he had he potted it, he might have been snookered himself. I'm not sure whether Graham can get through. That's, I think, one of the first important balls he's missed for the rest all day. And Graham could get through, but all sorts are happening here, aren't they, now? He's got the blue safe, unwittingly, but it helps him.
Yeah, been delighted to just be back at the table. If this had gone in, would have been a golden opportunity for Fan. As it is, he's got to do it all over again now.
Well, there's all kinds of stuff going on there. That was not the best escape from the snooker, but he's fluked one back. You never know really where the balls are going to finish on this shot, but Graham could hardly have played it better, to be quite honest. Look at this. Oh, this is one of the most extraordinary fluke snookers I've ever seen, I think.
You could not make that up, could you? And no wonder Graham Dott flings his head to the heavens. What a stroke Fan has had there.
That was a very unpleasant business, wasn't it? To finish there, goodness me.
Unbelievable.
I mean, seeing this again, it almost hurts to see it again. It's hit the bump, so much of the bump. It's gone right behind the blue. It's frightening. Absolutely frightening fluke, wasn't it?
Yeah. Had to be seen to be believed, that one. Great effort from Dott this. He's only just missed it.
Yeah, that annoyance is going to go straight back. The referee's doing his job, Graham. I think you know that. There's a funny gesture, as if it was the referee's fault. Clearly, he knows it isn't. But he got incredibly close to it, like you say. He's got to do it all over again.
He's also got to be wary not to catch the yellow in such a way that he could leave it into that right corner.
Foul. Miss.
It's rolled off, you know. That definitely rolled off. Because he was hitting it. Definitely hitting it. That was amazing. I know we didn't get to see it very closely, but just before it went out of view, I think he was hitting it. It definitely drifted away.
Foul.
Missed it by the narrowest margin, you'll see. He's played for the roll now.
Foul.
Amazing.
Well, that is unbelievable. You know what's happened. The last few shots have made me glad I don't play this game anymore. We'll just
Remind you why you gave it up.
Yeah, extraordinary.
Yeah, it was a huge stroke of luck for Fan. How significant is it going to end up being? Now this looks better. He's definitely hitting it this time.
Points could be valuable though, those 12 points.
Yes, it's a good deal tighter now in terms of the scoreboard, just 2 between them. Very tense stuff out there.
See, the significance is now Graham also needs the blue now, which was very much in his favour where it was, since it was not safe again. So really it's anybody's, this frame. Absolutely anybody's. And that's a good shot from Fan. That's very good. Okay, the keeper's run a little too far. Still keeping distance between the two balls. In the snooker, so he's going off the side cushion.
Foul.
Didn't think the angle looked particularly on there the way he was going. He'd have to go further up the cushion, which of course takes the cue ball a little bit close to the black ball on the way through.
Foul. You miss. Graham Dott full.
Not good, because now you're missing this twice again. Blue ball is not something that Graham has to worry about. because he could pop yellow, green and brown. There would be 19 in it. And it's sliding off this first cushion. It's a better line at last. There's 8 points again, giving some back to Graham from the other earlier snooker. I made Graham a favourite in the frame, but that's not a suggestion he'll win it though. Good shot.
Yeah, after finding himself in that heinous snooker just now, he's done well, hasn't he, to turn this frame, for the moment at least, in his favour. It's a good hit though.
They can bring the blue out into play as long as they don't knock it in the middle, and as long as in doing so it doesn't bring the yellow out towards the middle pocket as well. He knows all the shots, I tell you. I say that for him, for a young player. He's got all the right shots that come up that you think, well, he's got a free ball here or do something there. He hasn't missed the opportunity once to do that.
Well, that's not the best from Dot. Yes, it's a pretty open table again. Oh, well played. Very well played. Once again showing that tactical nous that Neil was just referring to, keeping the pressure on Dot. It's another snooker. Always been the most fluid match, although we've had some big breaks. It's been absolutely compelling stuff, this. One of the game's old guard looking to return to former glories, and a brand new talent looking to break new ground. Another frame that's going to exceed half an hour. Dot, of course, as things stand, needs yellow, green and brown. There goes the yellow.
Two.
He's always had a very punchy cue action to the point where you think, well, he could knock this in and get on the brown, although it looks a little too straight for the natural angle. But as I say, that's his style of play suggests he could get somewhere near the brown. A lot of pressure on it, wasn't there? That'd be a good billiards shot if you're playing billiards. In, off. And of course didn't want it, and 8 the difference now. That's changed the equation again, so the brown wouldn't be enough for Graham if he ever potted the green and got on the brown. A lot of penalty points in this frame, isn't there? Doesn't know what to do, does he? It's clearly it's not an easy shot to keep things safe. You can't really have Graham back in, I don't think, playing it. I think it's that sort of difficult. I'm sure Graham will find a way of keeping things safe. The natural up and down, taking the cue ball to bolt, the blue wood's in the way of the plain ball. So he's hitting it thicker and taking it that way across. Quite getting behind the pink. I think Graham fancied that. He felt that that was on. We saw a frame like this before the mid-session interval, the fourth frame, and it seemed to drag on for a long while on the colours before it was resolved. So he's going in the same way, isn't it?
Yes, in the end, Dot, who needed pink and black to steal it, missed the pink from long range, and Fan slotted it into the yellow pocket.
Foul.
Another in off.
Another penalty. Now I wonder here if he thinks the double's on. He might put the cue ball in hand and play the double to the opposite middle here, because the cue ball's staying on the brown. This could be a way of winning the match. I'm saying it's definitely that everyone on the tour would play this, but the value in it is absolutely extraordinary. You know, he could play it and get the match won. He could also try and get him behind the pink as the other option instead of playing the double, which I think he is doing. I think he considered it and then changed his mind. I don't know, that wasn't a bad shot to play, that double.
Second prize for Dot. His frame still very much up for grabs.
So a chance, and also a punchy shot again to try and get across for the brown.
Needs green, brown and blue. There goes the green, and it's nicely in behind the brown. So it's all about position. What a battle this has been. Graham Dot showing all of his fighting qualities to stay in it. Oh, he's hit that well.
7.
Easy afterwards, isn't it? But now I bet you he wished he'd played the double. Fan, because he didn't actually play that great a shot.
Well, he was losing the tight frames
12.
earlier, but he's won this one to keep his hopes alive, and this match, you feel, has still got a long way to travel. He's such a determined character, Graham Dott. He's not really played well today, but he's still in with a chance of making ranking final number 11. And Fan Zhengyi is still tantalisingly close to his first, but not there yet.
Thank you. Frame 10. Fan Zhengyi to break.
So after the longest frame of the semi-final so far, 36 minutes, eclipsing the 33.5 minutes we had earlier. Fan Zhengyi still needs one frame. Graham Dott now needs just two. Is this match going to the wire? It's been a fascinating tussle. It was all Fan in the first couple of frames. His long potting outstanding. That superb century that he made. Led 3-1 at the interval and then 4-1. Graham Dott never really looking particularly comfortable out there this afternoon, but something he never fails to show is his fight, his grit, his determination, and that's what's got him into a position where he could still win this match.
Well, he wasn't all that happy about that. In the end, it's turned out well. Hitting the jaws of the middle pocket slowed it down.
One.
Yeah. Hit that convincingly with the rest, so Graham Dott back in. He looks to take us the distance. And he's no stranger to final frame deciders in this tournament, Graham Dott. Beat Mark Davis in the second round by the odd frame. Likewise, Zhou Yulong in round 3, and then in the quarterfinals, of course, yesterday against Ryan Day.
Yes, and of course, if it was to go that way, he probably would fancy it again. It's the way the match is going. Sometimes when you get to 5-all, it doesn't really matter what's happened previously, but Fan is not as dangerous a player as he was at the start of this match. Absolutely no doubt about that.
8.
Feels like a long time ago that he was on a break of 31 and had the green to try and split the tightly bunched reds open for the chance to close out victory. Of course, he didn't get close to that cannon, and then quite a long battle ensued in the end on the colours, which Dott won, of course. So here we are, Dott with the chance to put something sizable together
50.
and take us all the way. Just a reminder, at 7 o'clock this evening, Ronnie O'Sullivan will be back on the table against Liang Wenbo, a player he's beaten 9 times out of 10. A match on Eurosport 1 as well as here on Discovery Plus and the app.
Played that well. That was a nice cannon that he was much as planned.
23.
That cannon not quite so good. Didn't mean to hit that side of the red that he was hitting. Quite overcut by quite some margin, wasn't it? We saw it again. So it's never going to drop from there. But he hasn't left a very straightforward opening red. He's very close to one, and he doesn't look much fun to me with the extended rest out and all kinds of extensions on your cue. It goes in, the rewards could be there, but it's not that easy a starter.
Yeah, always wide, and he's disappointed. He knows that was an opportunity early in this frame.
He played it quite well in a way. I know he missed it, but I mean, he played to finish that side of the pink. And the worst thing, it looks like he might have left the red on actually. No, not quite. I think he left them on by the edge of the bunch. Yeah, this is very edgy now. Got to be careful not to get the double kiss on this red. It's quite near the cushion to play this up and down shot. Oh, that's dreadful. That is dreadful. The shot was not on. He's now become a little sloppy in his thought process. He never even looked at that red, but it's the double kiss is on.
It's also the matter of the black covering the corner pocket. Oh, is there room for the red? There is. Big pocket now.
One.
And he's landed on the black. It'll be a struggle to reach it, though.
Tell you what, if this goes to a decider, this could become very tense and a lot of other things, because it's already it's been like that for the big sections of the match. A decider could go down to the last couple of shots, I'm sure. We're not there yet, but it feels like it might.
Eight. Graham.8.
Well, I think the problem there was the black that he managed to land on was the same story a little bit as Fang's, in that the cue ball was a bit close and he couldn't get the cue ball back. He knows he should have done an awful lot more out of that. It was a good opportunity. He didn't make many from it.
Yeah, a little shake of the head.
One.
So, Fan gets an opportunity himself, only 31 behind now. What can he make of this? he won't have that one back. And he's got that insurance red as well over the green pocket.
Played a couple of really good splits earlier on into the bunch like that, zipped through there. He's got to make sure he gets on his colour here, though. That'll do, that'll do. That's quite a nice shot. And the tension you feel just watching this match as a neutral, it's still all building up, isn't it?
Tsheng accumulated less than 10,000 ranking points last season, but announced himself at the German Masters with that run to the quarterfinals.
17.
And he's built upon that very impressively here at the Marshall Arena this week. Can he take that one extra step to his first final? Oh, hang on.
Well, he's a bit lucky there, isn't he? Because he can cue that and everything. It's not so bad.
90.
But it could have been horrible. So now, what we don't know about him is, can he really hold himself together when it counts? I know he did it against Gilbert,
20.
but this is an even bigger match. This is really where you sort out the real players. I reckon he can. We're going to perhaps find out.
He's been ahead throughout, of course. Led 2-0, 3-1, 4-1. He's had Graham Dott
22.
tigerishly fighting back at him, even though Dott himself has struggled for his best form today.
But
now this opportunity to put the match to bed without need of a decider, which really would test the nerves.
It's a nice shot because he had the insurance. If that cannon didn't work out perfectly, of course the red that Philip mentioned still over the pocket up there, so he could have used that. At the moment he's keeping that as a, if you like, for a rainy day if something goes wrong. So he's got himself into the frame, he's got himself into a position to win the match, but that has been the case already once or twice. Looks calm enough. Not wondering if he's going to get another opportunity. And now into the lead, 59 left. You see a great view of the way he cues, which, as we've mentioned already, is very heavily favouring his left eye, even beyond his left eye, but it works for him, very obviously. Yeah, he's got to play on that left-hand red of the two here as we look. Again, the other red is up there if anything was to go wrong, but we're never likely to on that shot.
45.
Might end up, that's the last red that he plays in the break. He's been over the hole all the way through. So this is really where
46.
dreams can be made to make a ranking final. He's not been plain sailing, but he could achieve it at this visit. Well, that was a lovely shot. That really was. It didn't look anything, but he judged it so well. He stroked it in and finished it on a sixpence with the cue ball.
Won his tour place courtesy of his triumph at the World Under-21 Championship in 2017, but started this season with his place on the tour in jeopardy. All of that's now forgotten.
Yeah, well, it might be. He's just got a bit more to do. If you look at where he is now, he's a little straight on this. 29 the difference.
61.
Obviously, it's his frame ball, but he would like to take it a bit further. The brown and blue where they are great for getting snooker, because he doesn't want to be left with that situation to worry about. So the lead is 30. It's one snooker. He's going to have to play a sensible shot here. Playing the yellow and perhaps the yellow again. He has to get this. And he has got it.
And now it's two snookers.
64.
And what a week Fan Zhengyi is having. Victory over Kyron Wilson, multiple ranking titleist, nearly made a maximum. Victory over Yan Bingtao, former Masters champion, having been 3-0 behind.
69.
It became a strong fight back from Dave Gilbert, the Championship League winner of this season. And now he's got the better of a former world champion in Graham Dott.
73.
And Dott has certainly put him under pressure in the second half of this match without ever playing his A game.
78.
But Fan has stood up to that pressure, and what a way to finish in such clinical fashion. Given the chance, he has not blinked.
84.
And he can now look forward to playing for a major title. Wow, what a story. What a talent. And what a victory.
Graham on the match.
Graham Dott congratulates him. Fan is through to his first ever ranking final, and a meeting with either Ronnie O'Sullivan or Liang Wenbo, the chance to become the BetVictor European Masters champion for 2022, and a thoroughly deserved win.